On this episode,
I wasn't sure that people really got barbecue out here when it started to turn into that. But there's so many people out here who are good at what they do. Like, there's some chefs out here that can compete with anybody in Texas and Tennessee and Kansas City barbecue. There's some really good chefs out here.
from the coveted corner booth in a little bar at the center of the Coachella Valley universe, welcome to another Big Conversation with Patrick Evans and Randy Florence, presented by the McCallum Theater. Visit McCallumTheater.org or reach the box office at 760-340-2787. Gentlemen.
And thank you very much, Howard. We are back here at the famed and treasured corner booth at Skip Page's Little Bar for another edition of Big Conversations Little Bar. My name is Patrick Evans, and I am your host. My co-host, sidekick, great friend, and sometimes Valley resident, Randy Florence is here.
Generally a Valley resident, yes.
Generally speaking.
Thank you for introducing me.
It's always a pleasure to have you. These have been so much fun.
We're, almost 2 years into this thing?
This was your idea. Did you ever think that 2 years later we'd still be hanging out at Skip's?
I didn't think there was any way anybody would want to sit with me that long.
I thought it was a pretty clever way to figure out how to get free drinks for Skip. I think it's worked out very well.
3 weeks into it, we started getting free drinks.
Our producer, John McMullen, sitting across from me. And, of course, we want to give a shout-out to Skip Page, who hosts us each week, and our presenting sponsor, the McCallum Theater, McCallumTheater.org. We're getting ready for full swing season. When folks come back after New Year's, those tickets are going to get more and more scarce. So please go online now and get those tickets. We'll hear from them again a little bit later on the broadcast.
You don't think this is the first time Skip's heard that we're getting free drinks, do you?
I don't think Skip listens to any episode except the one he was on.
Okay.
No, that's not true. Skip listens to almost all of them. He tells me, too. We're delighted to be here. And we also want to give a shout-out to Skip's staff because they always take great care of us here.
Yeah, they do.
I'm really excited about today's guest because this is truly, it's sort of I discovered all of this by accident. And Randy, you and I have been to Cowboy Cantina.
Yes, we have.
Jim Valdez owns Cowboy Cantina. And Jim was a guest on Eye on the Desert. And he came in and he was talking about the fact that Cowboy Cantina is moving from Palm Desert over to the river at Rancho Mirage.
Right.
And then the person who works at the river said, "Oh, by the way, Jim, he's Cowboy Cantina, but he is like a producer of movies." I'm like, "What?" And then she starts showing me the movies of Jim, and I'm like, "Holy cow, that's a whole different conversation." Jim, welcome to the program. I'm glad
Thanks
you're here.
for having me. Yeah, appreciate it.
A lot of our guests bring swag in, so I kind of expected you to have a beef brisket sandwich with you when you came in, but
your swag's coming on a flatbed truck. We'll pull up in a few.
By the way, it's a fantastic sandwich. I've talked about it so many times.
Well, I appreciate it. You know what? We quickly became known for our brisket. I had no idea that was going to happen. I envisioned it more leaning towards the Southwest, Santa Fe style, the Mexican food, and then the brisket just blew up.
Your influence was a Santa Fe chef, right?
My influence was a Santa Fe chef, but I also grew up in Colorado, and that style of New Mexican food was sort of what I was exposed to, turned on to, whatever. And I spent a lot of time going back and forth from Colorado to New Mexico. So the Santa Fe style New Mexican food just was something I couldn't get out here or even in LA when I moved in 1991. So I was interested in doing something that was, hatch green chilies, chamayo, stuff like that. And I didn't see anybody really doing it out here. So we thought we'd give it a shot, but here comes the barbecue out of nowhere. The brisket, the ribs.
The brisket, the ribs. I've had a number. I first got introduced to Cowboy Cantina at brunch.
Yeah.
And you have a really incredible and unique brunch menu. The food is fantastic. I'm looking forward to reopening. You guys are getting pretty close at the river.
Yeah, we're about 3 weeks away. We're excited. The customers and the support that we've sort of accrued in the last 2 years, unexpected and really amazing.
You're going to do something a little different, though. You're bringing all the same great food and great service, but there's going to be more of a performance venue. You're going to bring some live entertainment in.
Burlesque. Just kidding. We're going to do.
I was excited to hear from
burlesque.
Be right there.
Do you have a corner bar corner booth where we could do a podcast?
Burlesque. We're bringing some poles in. And, we're going to just turn it loose up in there.
That's because that's what Rancho Mirage is known for.
Patrick and I are going to be the entertainment.
Wait, hold on. What's that? Can you back up there? No. We're going to do live music, a lot more live music. We're going to do a late night. Sorry, I'm choking. A late night sort of venue, bringing in, new acts in, country, some rock, some Latin. Going to mix it up. What I've learned having a restaurant bar here for 2 years is that, starts to die down around 8:30 or 9. Can you keep somebody coming back? Can you attract the business after 9 o'clock? That's sort of our goal there.
Because if you get that second wave, that 9 to 11 or 9 to midnight crowd, and obviously less food, more drinks,
right.
which is a higher profit margin.
Right. Well, it is. And, it is.
Get rid of the food.
Who needs food when you have booze?
That's right.
That's the whole thing. Can we bring people in? I think there's an audience for it here. I hear all the time, hey, we're looking for some live music. We're looking for something late night. So we're going to try to give it a shot.
I think there's definitely an audience. I tell you, a lot of times, and my wife and I, so we live in Cathedral City. Yeah. And oftentimes we're like, well, let's go get some live music. Let's head down to the Nest. Well, I don't want to drive all the way to. Right. I love the Nest. We love Dodie. She's been, I guess. But if there was some place right in the middle, like Rancho Mirage at the river, that'd be a great destination to go and get.
Oh, the GM from Acrisure told us the week he was on that we wish there'd be a restaurant open somewhere after 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah, true. Well, you know what? It's a kind of a fine line too, because you want to open, you want to be there for people that are looking for that. It takes a second to build. But I think if you can bring fresh entertainment, and other people have tried, and I'm going to give it a shot. But if you can bring fresh entertainment in, keep it interesting, diverse in the sense that it's not one sort of, not one genre of music or whatever it is, DJ, and if you can mix it up a little bit and attract a broader sort of audience, that's sort of what the goal is. That's the whole point of us moving.
And you repurposed the other. You did not close there. You've turned it into kind of a sports bar theme. Yep. Tell me a little bit about the concept there.
It's great. You know what? So we had a liquor license that wouldn't travel. We owned the building. So.
And that was like a TGI Fridays at one point.
It was, yeah. So many people come in, Patrick, and they're like, hey, I met my wife here. Or
I met all my wives here.
I met my 4 wives and my 5 kids were sort of created here. But, no, excuse me. It was a TGI Fridays. Something happened, closed down.
It was sat vacant for a while.
Long time. And it's so long that, kind of was difficult in the beginning because nobody knew we were there. We're so arrogant. We're like, oh, we're doing something cool over here. When we open, there's going to be a line out the door, and we got lucky. We really got lucky because the right people kind of found out what we were doing. They blew up quick.
Yeah, to have a space like that's a little bit off the beaten path. I mean, it's very centrally located, but you don't have street frontage per se.
No.
People have to know where you are. You have to become a destination.
Oh, God, you are. But you know what? You are completely a destination over there. We're not blessed with signage,
Yeah.
So it's what I've learned. I advertise. I do some marketing through the radio and some billboards and some great people I've worked with. But it's really a word of mouth town. That's what I've learned. So
some TV advertising would work really well for you, and we can talk about that later. I know a guy.
Podcast advertising.
Absolutely.
That's the new thing.
That's the thing. That's the ticket. Is what it is.
What? I'm glad you brought that up. Because, do you have anything I can look at right now? Some rates.
I have some rates. I have a rate card. I carry a rate card all the time.
So I want to go all the way back.
Well, I was still.
Sorry.
Hold on.
Let's stay here.
Totally kidding. Go ahead.
No. But
I'm done.
Flesh out the sports bar concept that you're developing.
I was kidding.
And good timing for it because a major sports bar in town just shut down recently, and people need a place to go.
That is correct.
They did, and you know what? We've met a lot of people that have come over, people who work with us, people looking for a great place to watch a sports bar, watch an event. But what I wanted to do there was I wanted to make it like a Vegas sports book, right? If you go and check it out, there's TVs everywhere. I have big screens everywhere. I'm talking, you cannot miss a game there. And then if you're sitting here and you don't have a big screen, you have your own private 32-inch. It's incredible.
Bottle service.
Bottle service is coming.
No.
It is. Yeah, we're going to start doing live music and turning that into sort of, a variety club, if you will, some rock, some Latin,
Burlesque
some
after the
country.
game.
Poles.
Getting the poles up in there. We get some poles. I'm running out of poles in this town. I'm pouring to the pole market.
Patrick and Randy bought all the poles.
Stop that.
So we got to go through you to get a pole.
So you've got this great, and it's different for the Valley. I don't think people have done exactly what you're doing. And tell me about the food concept.
I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. When I opened it, late October, we were a typical sports bar, food-wise.
Burgers,
chicken sandwich, nachos, whatever. And then I found this chef that we have, Chef Ivan, is amazing, authentic Mexican food. And he's so good that we decided to change the entire menu based on what he was doing.
Wow.
Wednesday night at 11 o'clock, we got the idea to change the menu and really to lean into what he was doing. And Friday by 4 o'clock, we had a new menu.
He must have been pretty excited.
He was.
Yeah.
But what he's doing, look, everybody wants to talk about how great they are, and, it's a hard business to be in, but he's really good at what he does. And the food is incredible. So if you're going to own a restaurant or a bar and, walk around and talk about it and market it and, try to get people in the door, you can't have shitty food. You got to have exceptional food to really to lean into it and be confident. And he's completely changed the game for us. He's so good at what he does. And I want to expand it a little bit. Look, there's a lot of great Mexican restaurants out here. I could blindfold myself and walk out across the street and I'll run into one. Mm-hmm. They're doing it well. But our chef, he's so good. It's authentic. The food it's delicious. And I didn't set out to be a Mexican restaurant, but it's sort of morphing into that scenario. We have great food, sports, any event. We have, if you want to see any NFL game we have the ticket. I've bought every sports program or sports league you can buy, that NHL, NBA, all the premier the hockey leagues, and MLB.
You got a place to sleep in there? I mean,
seriously.
My wife would like me to go there.
Well, I do have a place for you. I have a pool and a pond. You know that.
Yes, I know that one.
But
the pond, not the pool.
Pond would be good for you. But yeah, that's what we're doing over there, and it's.
Well, and that actually it sets you apart. I mean, there are a lot of places, fewer than there used to be, but there are places where you can go watch a game and get a burger.
Right.
But to get some really high-end, great Mexican food, and in a sporting themed location is different. So that's very cool.
That's really cool. Yeah.
Look forward to coming in.
We want to have good food, right? So
right.
We still do burgers. We still do tacos. And whatever chef's doing back there is working. So, yeah, we're happy. But to be perfectly honest with you, it's just catching momentum now. When we opened, got out of the gates fast. It's seasonal. The word's starting to get out. And,
Well, you better hire up after this episode
once this podcast
airs.
drops.
Yeah.
They're going to beat it path to your door.
There's at least two people here that'll be coming in.
I'll take them. Trust me, I'll take them. So, no, but we're excited. And it's something that I think my partners and I want to do. Literally, the whole game plan is to take this Copa Sports and Social at 72620 El Paseo to from here to 10 to LA, Riverside, Rancho Cucamonga, maybe Beaumont, West Covina, that sort of Redlands, Riverside, which is sort of the demographic we're looking for.
Building out a concept that is transportable.
Right.
It's
And building it from here going out rather than the way every other business has been coming in.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the game plan. My partners are pretty, one partner I have is fantastic. Loves the concept. We're going out to Miami to look at a space for La Copa. So, yeah, it's something that can work.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very
thanks
cool.
for bringing it up. I appreciate that.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
congratulations. Well, I fell in love with the food at Cowboy Cantina, and then when you came on Eye on the Desert to talk about the new location, and here's where we will pivot a little bit. I discovered that this was a relatively new venture for you. I thought, maybe you were a restaurateur from way back, but that's not the case. You've been involved in the film industry, and you're a producer and executive, and you've done some acting too, right?
Oh, way back in the day. I wouldn't call it acting. I stood in front of a camera.
You got a couple of acting credits.
I went in front of a camera and got a SAG card, but as far as that being creative or acting, no, that wasn't my jam. I did actually do a lot of commercials, but I never really, I tried acting for a couple years. It wasn't for me. It would have been had I been hired, but it turned out
it worked.
Every job I was denied, it was not for me.
I didn't really like it, so I switched sides. But no, restaurant-wise, how it worked out here was I have a partner that owns, his family started Planet Hollywood, and he has a concept called Black Tap Burgers and Beers. Started as a 15-seat location in Soho, New York, where we were based at the time on the production side, and then now he's at Downtown Disney in Las Vegas at the Venetian, all over the world, Dubai, Macau, Singapore, Miami, Nashville, Dallas. And I wanted to bring that to the desert. I thought it would work. It's just a really bona fide New York burger concept. And he was like not interested at all. He's heard stories, desert's hard, it's seasonal, it's heat, based on the heat, people come and go. And so I kind of got it. I was coming from LA back and forth to Palm Springs. I loved being here, and I was really looking for an excuse to do something. So that's how Cowboy sort of became a thing. I was like, well, you know what? Let's do something that's country western. I'm from Colorado. There's a huge market for it. And much like the movie business, it's not saturated, right? So movies, you got country, faith-based, that crowd, underserved in the sort of restaurant space. Cowboy Cantina, I'm like, you know what? Let's do something that's what's big out here, Stagecoach. So for one weekend a year, you got 80 to 100,000 people coming out. Where do they go after that? They split and they go where? And I'm so naive. I didn't know about Jackalope. I had no idea. I thought that if we built it,
they will come.
Yeah. That's really, and had I not thought that way, I wouldn't have done it. Knowing what I know now,
well, I guess
such an education.
In your space, I guess Jackalope would be considered a competitor, but and want them to do really well. Right. That space is enormous. I think that's a really, really, really difficult restaurant concept.
Challenge. And look, I know nothing about what they're doing. Anybody that goes and does something, I'm pulling from.
Yeah, we want them all to make it.
I want people to root for us because there's enough to go around, but it's a hard business. And, I hear they're big. Our space, Cowboy, was massive, and that's where the Copa is now, but it was too big. So part of the reason that we wanted to downsize and go to the river was, more foot traffic, smaller contained space, but actually even the smaller space was more conducive for live music and dancing. It was a big draw, and I've been clocking the river for, 6 or 7 months now. There's a lot of year-round foot traffic there. Even in the summer, 110 degrees out, Tuesday at 9 o'clock at night.
Brr.
Yeah. You need a jacket.
It's only 110.
But people are still going out looking for something to do. Where I'm at now, even though it's a mile and a half away from the river, very, very seasonal. The snowbirds whom I have come to adore, they're amazing. I've met some great people. That season really is January through the end of March, early April.
Yep.
And they're gone. Yeah. I start seeing car transports in early April. I'm like,
No, they get out of here just before the festivals.
Yeah, what are we going to do? So I thought it was a great move for us to go somewhere that might be more conducive to year-round. The locals here have been great for us. The Hispanic market's been great for us, which I think is an underserved demographic out here.
Absolutely.
And that's really was the impetus
for La Copa.
Yeah. Because I see them going into great people going into Dave & Buster's and Cheesecake and those places are great. Yard House, they're great. All of those places are fantastic. But I was like, you know what? Who's building something for that market?
A unique thing for that market.
And I know there's other concepts out in the country right now that are doing that. And so that was sort of what we wanted to do. We wanted to build something that would attract that demographic and let them know they really had a home, and that was sort of built for them.
So what got the kid out of Colorado and eventually moving into the film business?
Oh, man. You know what? For some reason, my mom, single mom, amazing person, right? But when I was a skateboarder growing up in Colorado, would get buried under snow. And in December, I was staying inside. And one day I was like, you know what? Let's move to Southern California. And she goes, oh, you want to? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go to Los Angeles. She says, oh, okay. How are we going to do that? I have a job here. Like, we're not going anywhere, But for some reason, she just, but she was encouraging. She's like, hey, there's another world out there. So I fell in love with the idea of Southern California. And when I got out, I went to CU Boulder. And I came out, just to see what was going on. And I landed in Manhattan Beach. And,
that's not a bad spot to land.
Not bad.
Oh,
if you got to fall somewhere, that's a good place to fall.
Seriously, the first night I moved in there, I was like, oh my God, this is better than I ever could have imagined, right?
Manhattan
but I
Beach
made
is
it there.
pretty sweet.
I made a home in LA, but I didn't really land in the film business. I got a job and making some money, and I started doing like commercial acting, and
Well, a couple of national commercials pays the bills for a while because you get residuals off of that.
yeah. So I booked my first two first two auditions. This was way back in the day when it was just network television. So if you booked one of those, you were making some dough.
You were making, yeah.
And it wasn't, like it is now. There's 150 channels, and it's, diluted a lot. But so the first two auditions I went out on, I booked, and I got into the Screen Actors Guild really quickly. And
Man, I wish I was better looking.
oh my God,
We all
I
do.
mean, it's
we all do. Well, guess what? Hey, I appreciate
Glad you
that.
finally brought it up.
Yeah, that was the elephant in the room.
don't talk about my nose that way.
Before I got it.
I'm sorry.
But
I thought I warned you.
But here's the thing, and this is a great story because it's mine, but no, because it's a brutal sort of business, right? This first two commercials I went out on, I booked. I got into I got Taft-Hartley. That's how you get into the union if you don't have a Screen Actors Guild card, SAG card. And I made like $30,000 off my first AT&T commercial.
How old were you?
Early 20s.
Wow.
Had nothing going on. No money. And I'm like, oh man, what are you guys complaining about? This is easy business, right?
This is easy money right here.
So nothing happens for the next year. I get dropped by my agent, and the reality started to set in. Okay, well, you got lucky, right? Which you do need, but
And were you auditioning and active?
Oh, yeah, I was auditioning, but so were another million people. I would go to an audition, walking in like you're, unique, and then there you see 30 guys that are,
Look
same
just
as
like you.
but better, right? Taller, better looking, chiseled. And I'm like, oh shit, I guess I can go back to school, but no. So then, but what happened in the film business, to skip a couple years, but I had a girlfriend that was trying to be in the business, and she was married to the best friend of the president of William Morris. And she's
Pretty good contact.
Yeah, it was good contact, but they were like, well, you've never done anything, so come back when you have some tape.
Show them your AT&T commercial.
Well, no, this was for her.
This is for her.
And so what happened was I said, well, let's go do something for you. Let's make a short film. And we did, and it was, it was a sort of a segue to me being interested in getting into the business. So what happened was I got interested in the production side, and a girlfriend of mine gave me a job at a company that was, that just released a movie called The Whole Nine Yards.
Yeah.
And it was #1 at the box office.
Is that Matthew Perry?
Yeah, Matthew Perry and Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
That we financed and had a deal with Warner Brothers. But the whole point was for an independent company to have the #1 movie at the box office for 5 weeks in a row, unheard of. Won't happen again. It's a whole different animal now. But so I went to work at this company, and we had a deal with Warner Brothers, and we were making a bunch of movies, studio movies, DVD movies, and I learned the business. I worked with some really great people, in all aspects of that. A lot of them remain friends of mine today, but we got to wear a lot of different hats. We learned how to do film finance and distribution or delivery and servicing and sales and whatever it was. Development, and we were just in the middle of a lot of traffic, and so that sort of got me sort of on the path to being an indie producer. So that company, it's a crazy story, but the owner of that company, who I worked for, was also the owner who created the Roxbury, and he owned the company that I worked for, the film production company. He's now my partner in like Cowboy and the Copa and some other things we're doing. So, but that's how I got into it. It was just right time, right place. Also willing to put some work in and grind it out and learn.
Because it is a grind.
It's grind. Yeah, it's a tricky business, right? You can show up in town with deep pockets and finance and movies, but you might not know what you're doing. What we did, where I worked at a company called Franchise Pictures, we all had, the blocking and tackling down. the fundamentals of making movies. You know, taking, you know, collateral from pre-sales and banking those and financing your movies. You know, so I was lucky. But that being said, the truth of it all is it's a tough business. You know, it's a tough business. So you make a movie here or there, a year there, but then you try to just get some momentum, and that's fortunately what happened to me. You know, I stuck around. I knew the right people, and we made some movies. And here we are now. We're still doing it. I just did a movie that I did. Paramount released in late October called Spin the Bottle. You know, doing well for us. I'm doing another movie now with a company called Luminosity. That was a Sony movie. Another horror movie we're casting now. And so
Randy's an actor. He's been doing a lot of acting. So if you need somebody, he would make a good victim.
67 years of practice.
you know what? I saw that when I walked in. I'm like,
that guy's a victim.
Victim number 4.
Got a part for you, Randy. It's got a part for you. You did a movie. You have a movie out. It's out now with Tina Fey and John Hamm. Right?
That was a movie that came out last summer.
Oh, last summer.
Yeah, and so that's an interesting. That's an interesting example of, you know, a lot of different people have companies like myself where, you know, you come in. Sometimes we produce movies from the beginning. Other times you come in and you help with the financing. So, yeah, that movie was brought to me by someone very close to me, and, you know, we just partnered up and we got to be involved with that movie. Yeah, I love it. You know.
I'm not sure who the cutest lead was there. They're both pretty good looking.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I'm going on a different topic.
But Tina Fey is a University of Virginia graduate, as am I.
Really?
You're a Cavalier?
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah.
Is that John Crotty? No.
John Crotty was a Cavalier.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ralph Sampson,
of course.
Chaminade. Oh, I'm sorry.
Chaminade.
That was an upset, right?
If you're gonna insult us, try to get the name of the school.
I think everybody knew.
We're gonna take a quick break and acknowledge our great sponsor, our presenting sponsor, the McCallum Theater, McCallumtheater.org.
The McCallum Theater's 2024-2025 season is on sale now. The world's top artists, from jazz, pop, classical, and comedy to the best of Broadway, only at the Valley's favorite place for great entertainment. Tickets are on sale now at the McCallum Theater box office, by phone, or online at McCallumtheater.org. Tickets sell quickly, so order yours today. A new, exciting season only at the McCallum. The McCallum Theater's 2024-2025 season is on sale now.
And we are back. Our guest is Jim Valdez, who is the owner of Cowboy Cantina and La Copa Sports Bar. What's
Howdy.
Partner. He rode in on a horse from Colorado to LA. So we were kind of diving into this. And explain, because you get a lot of your credits are producer or executive producer. And I think for people outside of the movie business, they don't really know what those titles mean. So tell me a little, first of all, differentiate them. Executive producer is more on the finance side, right?
Executive producers are really interesting credit because it could be a manager of talent. It could be someone that contributed a little bit of money to the movie. It could be an executive with the company that's sort of overseeing the movie. It could mean all kinds of stuff.
Could it be one of the actors who just wanted the credit?
It could be one of the actors' wives. It could be one of the actors' husbands that, fills the need to be involved somehow. So they want to attract an actor to a project. They'll throw them an executive producer credit. So that being said, I feel like what I've done, I've actually earned those credits, So because there's a lot of, if you see some of these movies, there's a lot of people involved, right?
Yeah.
We try to keep it to, the people that are actually involved in the movie.
Doing the actual hands-on
So
work.
we don't just pass out credits. So, but the executive producer can mean a lot of different things. And 90% of the time, someone's earned them. But there's some gratuitous sort of, passing out of credits to people that there's certain actors that if they do a movie, their manager gets a EP credit.
No.
If you have a $10 million movie and someone brings $50,000 to it, they're probably going to negotiate an EP credit.
Do you have any stories of a difficult situation where somebody was asking for something you just weren't prepared to offer?
Oh, yeah. Where do we
Help us
start?
out. We've got 2 hours. Go ahead.
Well, you know what? I've been involved with some things where it starts out where, hey, I just want to be involved with this, right? Someone comes to us and says, hey, let's do this together, or, have this project that I want to do with you, or whatever, and it just becomes unmanageable very quickly, Expectations. What we've learned is, and I hate to even get into this, but have good lawyers from the beginning. Get things written down and signed, because everything can come back and bite you.
Everything's contentious and potentially litigious.
Dear friends, I have someone I worked with for a very long time that very sensitive, I guess, but we started working together when he had no credits, right? And then we did a lot of movies together, and then we were doing another movie together, and a big-time actor got involved, and it became very contentious very quickly. And I was the producer of that movie, and through a couple of sort of nefarious moves, I became an EP on the movie, right? So it's just egos, right? I was involved from day one. And this happens. It's not, I'm not complaining. It's just things happen, right? So you're involved with something, and then all of a sudden something happens, and you're not.
Yeah.
And sometimes you find yourself just hanging on for the ride. We don't like to do that anymore. We like to control all of the content we make.
So how do you pick your projects?
Now, with what we can sell, like right now, horror's huge. So we're just going to focus on horrors right now. I don't have a comedy that we're casting right now. We're casting the comedy right now, but this horror movie that I'm doing, we're trying to make offers to talent before the holidays. We'd like to be shooting first quarter 25 in the East Coast. So what can we sell? We're just manufacturers.
Right.
What's
so
the
you're looking at what the niche is, where it's, and so
what can we sell?
Do you buy scripts, or do you hire writers?
I hire writers. We develop a lot.
Okay. So you're soup to nuts. Like, you start from the ground up. You're not shopping a project and finishing it.
No, nothing wrong with that. But what we do, I have a company called Fortress Media and another company called Brand Inc. And what we do is we either develop because we can tailor make it for what our production needs are. If someone comes to us with a project, well, that's someone already that's involved. We might not control it, right? So we like to develop. So what that means is, okay, we have an idea. We know that horror is big right now. Let's take an idea, and I really want to do something in the desert again, but let's take an idea we know we could develop, pay a writer to develop it. We own it. We finance it. We shoot it, and it's all contained. It's all done within the parameters of our mandate. We don't need 10 producers involved, because then things get a little dicey. A lot of people.
Nobody's ever on the same page.
So you have control over it from inception to release, basically.
Now that's what we do.
Yeah.
Because, by the way, we're not making the biggest movies, but we make a good living at it, and it's exciting. And we're doing something now. We're doing something that we're not the day-to-day producers on, but we are developing and did a project, or doing a project with a director-writer named James Marsh, who did The Theory of Everything and also Man on a Wire. He's an Academy Award-winning director. Yep. So that's a little different for us. We're willing to take a back seat to the day-to-day producer on that, right? That's taking care of itself right now. But like I said, we're casting this other movie. 2 movies we're casting right now, looking at a third to be shooting in the spring. So, we work with a finance company, or we finance it ourselves, and we control it. That's the whole thing. But yeah, soup to nuts, we develop, but I also deliver. And that's a very complicated process when you sell a movie.
Because getting distribution can be a difficult task.
It can be, but that's
you guys have mastered it, obviously.
We can't make a movie unless we know where we're going to go.
Right, where it's going to go.
Who's going to do it, or a certain group of people that are going to do it, right? But, yeah, it's just you want to be in control of it. You want to, not because we're, control freaks, but if it goes outside of your sort of, your purview or your sort of, idea of what it's going to be, it could go south really quick.
We had one of our guests tell a story. The original Marty McFly was not Michael J. Fox, and they actually
it was Eric. What's his name?
Eric Stoltz, and they had to move him out of the movie, basically.
Got rid of him.
Have you had situations like that?
I had a situation like that. This is a funny story. There was a kid. I won't mention his name, but he did a movie for us.
What's it rhyme with?
Stop that, Randy.
I'll tell you on our next break in 48 minutes. No, but so kid was great. He had the look for it, and he had a great audition. Sent the tape in. He was from Florida. Had a couple credits that he just did. So, okay, we took a chance on this kid. Showed up, right? And wait, who's going to hear this? But anyway, he showed up to set, and the first day of production, we realized about 10 minutes in, it's going to be hard.
Not the right guy.
Not the right performance. Okay, and so the actor, who's a significant actor at the time, still is, pulled me aside, and he's like, he's a friend of mine, and he's like, look, man, Jim, what I would do, I would shut production down and recast this thing. I'm like, no, if I do that, then I'll be killed. I'll be killed by the investors.
Right.
I don't have the money or the budget to shut down. I'm an independent producer. I've paid for locations. I've paid for travel.
And this is an actor telling you this.
Yeah, exactly. Let's shut down.
Shut it down.
We'll pick it back up in 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. As he's staying in a 5-star hotel in Pasadena. So it was tricky. Okay. So we were in a panic because everybody, even the crew, even the sound guy, no offense, who was not looking at what was going on. He's just not paying attention. But even, the guy at the boom was like, whoa, you know what I mean?
This is not the right performance.
Not good. That producer over there, meaning me, he's in a jam. So what happened was we got really lucky because the actor, who's done a hell of a lot of movies and he's super talented, said, and if I tell you his name, you'll know who I'm talking about. The kid will not be happy, but he said, look, check him into my hotel, $500 a night. Check him into my hotel and I'll work with him. I'll get him where he needs to be. And that's what we did. We moved the kid into the hotel in Pasadena, the Langham, and they worked together every night, starting that night, just to get a performance that we could cut around.
I want to do a movie with you just so I can stay at the Langham.
Well, trust me, everyone else was staying at the roadside inn. But
So it worked?
It worked. And so here's the thing. This is the craziest thing in the world. So the kid made it through the movie, 4 or 5 weeks of filming or whatever it was. And on the last night, his mom comes to me. Stage moms and stage parents, stage dads, they're interesting, came to me and said, hey, look, I've got this big audition tomorrow. It's like 9:30 at night right now. Can you wrap him out a little early? I'm like, well, he's in like 4 more scenes. I need him. She's like, wow, Then she's hanging around the camera. I'm like, I go to the AD and I said, look, how can we shift this around and just shoot him out? Let's just get him out. He's got a big audition. Let's play the game. And so we did. We made it work. So by 10:30, we wrapped him out. Kid's not going to his car and leaving. He's playing on set, running around set, doing his thing, right? And his mom comes to me and she's like, thank you. I appreciate you doing that. I said, well, we've got a big audition tomorrow. I want to help you out. She's like, well, we're going to skip that audition. Skip the audition. I said, what's the audition for?
Home Alone. It was Macaulay Culkin, wasn't it?
It was comparable to that. It was a show that they were rebooting, right? And he was going in for one of the leads. And I'm like, please don't skip that audition, whatever you do. Well, we kind of want to get back to Florida. I'm like, no, do not skip that audition. You're leaving anyway, in the afternoon. Make it over to the audition.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Just see what happens. And the kid goes and books it. Major television show. Like, it did 7 years. The guy was making $13,000 an episode, then 22, then 65, and then $100,000. for all these years. Right?
Wow. Mom almost blew that.
Wow.
Mom almost blew it. But, so anything can happen. I guess the whole point to this long-winded soliloquy is anything can happen in this business, right? You could have a home run. We've done, a lot of base hits. Maybe we had a home run one day, maybe not. But
what's a base hit for you? Just turning a profit?
Yeah. Yeah, doing some business.
Yeah.
Right.
What's your biggest surprise both ways on things that you've done? Ones that you thought, oh, this is going to make it, or another one that you didn't think so and it did better than you expected?
I learned from some really good producers, right? So the surprise is not how ill-performing they were. The surprise is that they didn't blow up. You think you put all the sort of ingredients together for something that's just going to, blow up for you, but that's okay. We're in business. We're trucking along.
Do you get over that pretty quick?
Have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no lingering about it. What have been some of your favorite movies that you've produced that you really look back and say that's a piece I'm really proud of?
Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. Really, like right now, the movie that we just did, Spin the Bottle, Paramount just released. To me, after all these years, that was the trickiest, and that was the movie that was like, I'm surprised it got made. We got nailed by COVID, right? We were going to start shooting around COVID. It just got shut down. Then my partners they lost interest, and I was shopping a script. I believed in it. And then I found a group I partnered up with that we were going to do it ourselves. And then they went away, and I kept the director. He believed in it. And then I got a company that I was working with in Hollywood, whatever. They're a finance distribution company. They loved it. They knew that sort of title, it's public domain. Everybody knows what Spin the Bottle is. Hey, this could be a home run. So we were moving forward with this group, and then, 11th hour, they just decided they didn't want to finance it. We'd already spent a lot of money, and I lucked out because we found a way to do it ourselves, and it could have just been a disaster. Then it was still COVID, not COVID per se because we shot it in end of 22, 23, but COVID regulations through Screen Actors Guild were still hanging around.
Yeah.
So it caused us to be, it was more expensive. But like all these sort of movies that we've done and the lessons that you sort of learn, you got your ass kicked here, you did well here, sort of all came together on this one movie, So was it perfect? No. But it was, it's going to do some business. And it gets us to the next movie, which we're casting now. So it's just, sounds so cliche, but just to still be standing,
Well, do you have any shutdown time? I mean, between movies and restaurants.
No, you know what? You gotta go. I have a 6-year-old kid, a 6-year-old daughter, and I'm just working my ass off for her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So with Cowboy, working our butt off. Sorry.
You can say yes. It's okay.
So
People have said a lot worse.
So, we're doing Cowboy at the river. We're doing Cowboy in San Diego. We're doing Cowboy on Sunset Strip. We're looking at doing it down in San Antonio with the Riverwalk. Las Vegas, we're looking at a location for. We're actually doing 3 in Los Angeles.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Yeah, that's cool. It's a good concept.
It's a great concept.
It'll travel.
If the food remains consistent as it was in your single location, you're gonna hit every place it goes.
You know what's funny you say that because that's sort of the point. Meaning, to be able to be as consistent, like McDonald's.
Right. You know what you get every
what
time.
you're getting.
And it doesn't matter where you go get it.
You could be in New York or LA or Japan. It's the same, and the quality has to be elevated and has to be the same. That's why I go to Starbucks, because all these LA coffee shops, God bless them, they're in business and it's hard. But one day the price is different, one day the quality is different. I go to Starbucks because it's consistent. I know what I'm getting. It's the same price.
And it's going to be $6 every time you walk out of there.
That's right. $15. No matter how much is in the cup.
That's right.
No, but that's sort of what we're trying to do with Cowboy.
Right.
Make it consistent. I'm glad you brought that up because if you can get the food consistently excellent every time, and that's been a challenge,
Well, and
Not gonna lie to you.
you're taking a path that I'm not sure anybody has taken before, starting here and branching out. A lot of places have started in Vegas or started in LA. You're doing something really unique.
Yeah, but having known what I thought starting here would be easy. No. It could be potentially the hardest place to start a restaurant in the United States.
Oh,
Why
it
is that? Why is that?
Because it's so seasonal.
Seasonality.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I mean, I knew it was seasonal.
Seasonality, the workforce. I mean, there's, it's hard to hire people. It's harder to hire people here, and people get scarce. The warmer it gets, the workforce gets scarce, not just the patrons.
Well, you know what? Let's talk about that. First of all, why is it the hardest place in the world to do business, or in the States, I guess? Because it's so beautiful here, and it's so theoretically accessible, right? It's affordable. You can go get a lease done or buy a joint, whatever. It seems like it's affordable, but what they don't tell you is it's like Martha's Vineyard in reverse, or the Hamptons in reverse. It's 4 months out of the year. Anybody that tells you otherwise, they know something I don't. Meaning it's January in this part of town, right, where I'm at. It's January through March. Maybe April, if you're lucky, it starts to trickle down into May. But where you could really make money is January through March here. And hopefully make enough that you can sort of limp through
Survive.
the summer, and then get creative from around September, October. Tricky business. But also, it's got us good at being scrappy, right? I go to LA, I do Cowboy Cantina. We're in the heart of West Hollywood. There's going to be a lot of people. If I had started there, let's say the concept did well, doesn't teach us how to be gritty. Doesn't teach us how to go attract business. It's coming in, so we're just going to sort of, I wouldn't say be lazy. That's not something we know how to do, but okay, well, business just coming in. We don't have to be innovative. We don't have to be creative in sort of our sales pitch or what we're doing marketing-wise. It's just here. Like in LA, if you're doing a joint in LA, you know this, you don't really have a sign up, The cool places don't have signs.
No, they don't need signs.
Right.
People know where they
almost
are.
out of business. Then they put a sign up. Like,
Now these guys are in trouble.
We're over here. Yeah. And then you don't go there because you're like,
Oh, they got a
they're in
sign.
trouble.
I smell desperate.
But
right?
see, adversity does makes people work harder. It makes a better product.
Yeah.
And so that's a very interesting concept to come out here and deal with that adversity. And now you can take those hard lessons and put them in markets that are a little easier to garner the business.
No, it is, and that's sort of the benefit that we have to going into. So we're going to the gas lamp, right? Gas lamp is a tricky. It's loaded with people on the weekends. So Thursday through Sunday, maybe even Thursday through Saturday, raining people out of the sky.
Yeah, but Monday, Tuesday,
It's
Wednesday.
tricky. So knowing what we know now, I'm not a big proponent of being closed, right? I go to my favorite joints, and if I walk in or go up and try to get in and they're closed, I'm a little irritated, right? So I want to try to stay open in these places, and that's what the desert has done for us, is got us prepared to go and,
Run lean when you have to.
Go lean and swallow your pride, man. Go do what you got to do to bring business in.
Yeah.
But to address something, I do want to say something with the staff out here, right? Tricky place to staff up. Just not because of the culture, but because it's finite out here, right? There's a certain number of people, and the good ones are, they've been taken. And I'm not saying that they're not, there's so many good people out here. I've been so lucky to meet people that have worked with us, and to get to know our staff has been a blessing. But, in the early days, let's cut through it, man. Nobody knew me, and they didn't know what I was trying to do culture-wise. Look, I had a lot of this when we first started. People just wouldn't show up for work. And I didn't know this, but there's a thing going on where you don't call, remember when we were, coming up or whatever, and you didn't want to go to work, you made something up, you called in sick, you're like, oh, I can't make it.
I have a note from my mom.
Boss, can you hear me? I can't make it. I lost my leg, you know. Something. You came up
It'll
with
be back
something.
by tomorrow.
It's going to grow back.
Wow. You can
They
make
got the
it?
sutures in.
But out here, they just won't call. They text you, and they're like, hey, they don't even give you an excuse.
I'm just not coming in.
I'm not making it. Or they don't text you or call, and you're like, oh, I really like that person. They quit. But 2 days later, they show up like nothing happened. Full Costanza. You know what I mean?
I didn't quit.
I was kidding.
I was kidding.
You know what I
Quit.
mean?
Come on. Yeah, it's
T-bone.
tough.
But
It's-
I've gotten lucky because the people that have been with us from the early days, they're great. They're family oriented. They're hard workers. They bought into what I'm trying to do, which is, this is something I believe in. I'm really talking about Cowboy and Copa, but in here in the desert. But okay, I buy what this guy is trying to do. Let's be accountable. Let's learn the product. Let's, talk about the product. Let's believe in it. They're proud to be involved,
That makes a difference.
I think so. It's not, look, it'd be crazy, but I think it's more than just a job to most of them. And like I said, if your kid wants to go to college, man, let's figure it out. I want to start a scholarship fund for our employees, I want to, if your kid wants to go to college and we can help, well, let's try to figure it out. I want that to happen. You know what I mean? I want us to be that.
You guys also give back. Cowboy Cantina has done nights where you donate a percentage of profits for a number of community organizations.
Big brothers, big sisters.
That's right, Big Brothers,
all
Big
kinds
Sisters.
of stuff. Yeah, we've done that from day one.
We're going to do that with Animal Samaritans at some point, do we?
Yeah. Oh, we'd love to.
Your manager, Paul, great guy.
Paul's great. He's fantastic. And we've done some stuff with animal organizations, and animals are very, very important to what my personal beliefs are. So I'm a longtime vegan. So I've never even tried our food. I'm serious. I've never tried a brisket or a meat or a burger.
It's good.
So it's really good.
It's really good.
Thank you.
So
We
when you
know
go
and,
into Cowboy Cantina, you don't want to eat with Jim.
No, that's not true. We've done some amazing dishes that are vegan. We have a vegan pomodoro. We do waffles vegan. We have vegan burgers. We have vegan tacos. Our green chili from Santa Fe, our Hatch green chili, that's vegan. So our tostada is vegan. We could do burrito. I'm an advocate for it. I don't, I love that people come in and appreciate our brisket and our ribs are out of this world. Now you're looking at me like, how do I know?
How do you know?
I saw that. Look.
How do you know?
Hey, man. Look
Randy,
that way.
I'm sure told you.
Look that way. No, but yeah. I mean, look, I brought some really good people in from the early days. Some guys that had some resumes with smoking. Running smokers, Colorado guys, New Mexican guys, Tennessee guys that have an opinion. Texas, that would bring them in and say, hey, look, what needs to happen here? And by the way, in the early days of Cowboy, we got lucky because some of the guys working for us sort of understood it anyway. I wasn't sure that people really got barbecue out here when it started to turn into that. But there's so many people out here who are good at what they do. There's some chefs out here that can compete with anybody in Texas and Tennessee and Kansas City barbecue. There's some really good chefs out here, The Valley, to me, is underrated as a food stop,
I agree.
It is.
There's some really excellent chefs out here.
There are, and they're doing their thing, and they're not chasing any sort of notoriety or limelight. They're just doing their thing, and they don't even know how good they are.
Well, for a long time, even through the early 2000s, we were a golf destination, and everybody just wanted to go out and get a steak.
Right.
And so you had a bunch of great places to go get a steak, but there wasn't a lot of elevated dining, and there's a lot more of that now, and we're starting to see the dividends pay off in that.
There is, and what's interesting to me is Palm Springs has seemed like it was more inclined to be the center of foodie sort of influencers and food influencers and new chefs and new concepts, but really look at Indio. Look what Indio's doing out there. I think that's fascinating.
Well, Indio is it's long been the most populous city in the valley.
Yeah.
And for a long time it was the anchor, and then things moved, and Palm Springs was sort of the anchor and the brand. But I think that pendulum is swinging back.
Yeah. I mean, look, I love Palm Springs. I think what they're doing out there is fantastic. There's some great concepts out there, but there's something going on with Indio that's just got an energy, you know? It's got something that people are excited about. I think it's sort of akin to the Firebirds, right? It's, you know, I didn't understand it. Meaning, you know, people would offer me to give me tickets to go to the Firebirds, you know, been a bunch of Kings games and Ranger games or whatever in New York, and it's like, well, I don't need to go tonight. But when I went with my family recently. Oh my God, the place was going crazy.
Yeah.
It's really contagious. I mean, they love it, and I think that's sort of.
It's another thing bringing the community together.
It really is a community builder, and that's sort of what I see what's going on with Indio. I love Palm Desert. I live in Palm Desert now. The people I've got to meet here are fantastic, but they split. You know, they come and go. Indio seems like it's more of a, you know, permanent community.
Yeah, it's year-rounders.
Year-round.
That's where the folks are.
Yeah. That's going to be the dominant economic city in this valley going forward.
It will be.
Is that based on stats,
I wanted to ask you, you mentioned the word grit several different times. Yeah. What did you learn from the movie business that has helped make you successful in the restaurant business?
Very simple. Just don't say no. And if you could stand up, if you can last, and you believe in what you're doing, you'll make it. You know, it's just you gotta believe. That sounds so corny and so cliche, but if you believe in what you're doing, and you know there's a place for you, there's space for you in whatever you're trying to do, and you can't just stand around doing nothing.
If you don't believe it, who's going to?
Exactly. If you choose to do some work, choose to know what you're doing, choose to learn about the space you're in, and you'll get lucky. You gotta last it out. I mean, look, you know, Cowboy was tough in the early days. You know what I mean? I had some people working for us in the beginning when we opened our doors, and they were like, you know what? I don't know if this is gonna work. Like, I don't think we're gonna be able to work here much longer. This was 3 weeks in. I'm like, look, give it a second. It's gonna work. I believe in this.
Tough it out a little bit.
Tough it out. Grind it out. Now, if you want to go get another job somewhere because you have bills to pay and you got responsibilities, yeah, God bless you. I'm here. I'll come back and have a drink with us, you know what I mean? But, and then just one day, you know, 4 weeks into what we were doing, I come to Cowboy and there's literally a line out the door. The lobby's full, you know? Not because we're so great, but because we believe in what we're doing. And you just got to give it a shot.
Well, but you picked your niche, and you were very good at it. Yeah. You're very good at it.
I appreciate that. You know, not so easy though.
It's no, it's not. No, restaurant business is tough, but you picked two really tough businesses. You can pick something easy.
Restaurant business is brutal. Movie business is easy.
I toughed it out in the movie business for long. I'm just something easier.
Lithium.
Jim, shop there.
Thank you so much for spending time with us. This has been fascinating.
Really has.
Hold on, guys. I have a whole list of things I wanted to talk about. Okay, I'm kidding.
Well, when we do big conversations, Cowboy.
Remote.
No, Skip, we're never leaving. We love Skip's little bar.
Skip, hey, by the way, Skip's been great to Cowboy. You know, I've got to know him a little bit. Spend a little bit of time with him. Been very good to us. So
he's a good dude.
And to us.
Skip, I really like him, and some of the people that I've got to meet in his world have been really good to us. So I love this place. You know,
it's pretty cool.
It's a cool little joint. It's a cool little joint.
So thanks for having me.
So we're not actually recording.
No,
we just.
Oh, is this the test run?
Yeah,
we just test run. We're going to start soon. We're going to start soon.
Shoot the performance, man.
No, this has been great, and I encourage everybody. Well, go see Spin the Bottle,
please,
and support Cowboy and support La Copa.
Yes,
it's two great places to go and enjoy some great food, great drink, and
honestly, I appreciate it. It just, to have me on and talk about what we're doing and. It means a lot. I really appreciate it.
Right.
Thank you. And you've been fantastic to just talk about the brand, and it's sincere, and I really do appreciate it. And it's good to meet you. And
you too.
Well,
him.
And our silent partner over there.
Well, he's the editor, so you probably...
Oh, he's going to...
You love him.
No, thank you. I appreciate it.
On behalf of our producer, John McMullen, my sidekick and co-host, Randy Florence, I'm Patrick Evans, our guest, Jim Valdez. Thank you all, and remember, subscribe so you never miss an episode. We're available wherever you get your podcasts, and we'll be back with another edition of Big Conversations Little Bar real soon.
Thanks, CC.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Big Conversations, Little Bar. Recorded on location at Skip Page's Little Bar in Palm Desert, California, the center of the Coachella Valley universe. And presented by the McCallum Theater. Online at McCallumTheater.org. This program is a production of the Mutual Broadcasting System. All episodes are available from BigConversationsLittleBar.com and most major podcast portals, including Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Spotify.